It's one thing, you know, I've never gotten is steampunk. I don't quite get steampunk as a setting, and the reason is I don't get it. It doesn't click with me. I find steampunk very unusual. Just you know, no, they didn't go the route of electricity. They went the route of big gears and steam power. So you've got giant blimps in the sky. You've got, you know, men with top hats and guns that shoot magma from backpacks, and giant gears and giant spider mechanical things with big clock parts, and lots of clocks and pipes, and I never really gotten it. Like Captain Nemo, Abraham Lincoln, and a caveman go on a fabulous adventure in their flying submarine. Like, that to me is steampunk, and I just can't wrap my mind over it. There's always some weird historical figure thrown in somehow. So it's a bunch of, you know, pipe monsters. And then, you know, Benjamin Franklin shows up. Like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or whatever that is. I still can't get that either. I don't understand the appeal, and it's me, you know. Steampunk has a big following. I know the cosplay does. So you're always seeing steampunk cosplay, and I think I like the look of it. You know, the eyeglasses and the, you know, the spectacle. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm not quite sure why. Steampunk's just, I don't know, it's just weird. It's steampunk. So, that's one thing we can talk about. As far as fantasy settings go, I like generic fantasy settings. I don't, you know, usually settings to me, they often don't add, they often take away. So, you know, and everybody has their own homebrew setting, and it's usually like, oh, everything's the same in my setting, but in my setting, you know, there are no dwarves, and elves ride flying blimps. You know, it's something like that. There's something missing. They don't add to it. They have something missing from the setting. And that's usually what, you know, what separates one setting from another a lot of times. It's just, well, you know, well, it's just like a generic setting, only in this one, orcs are a seafaring race. Oh, nice cars. So, you know, so I'm more of the generic ones, and for fantasy, to be completely honest, the best, oh, look at these cars. Let's go around, let's take a look at them. So we got that, and we got a, what is that? So we've got a Dodge something, Mercury something, and a Monarch? Chevy Monarch? They're the coolest things I've ever seen. I love the blue one. Hey, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, let's see the other one. No one guns me down. That's beautiful, hey? And, yeah, there's the other one there. Hey, what a beauty. Just absolutely beautiful. Wow, what amazing vehicles, hey? That's just amazing. Beautiful. Yeah. Just very beautiful vehicles. It's alright, where was I? Oh yeah, hot cars. Isn't that lovely? Oh. They don't make vehicles like that anymore, you know. They're just aesthetically beautiful, you know, artwork. Everything now is just streamlined and oval. Everything looks like an egg, you know, for the most part. It's just there's no style really. A couple of lines here, slightly different grill. So yeah, anyway, Greyhawk's been my favorite setting because it's the most generic. And for me, I like generic because you're not excluding things from your setting, right? Greyhawk has everything, right? So you're not excluding stuff. You know, unlike Dragonlance. And I quite love Dragonlance to read. That's my favorite setting to read. But once again, it's excluding stuff. It's like everything else, except, you know, there are draconians there, and there, you know, there's a Minotaur continent, right? But you're excluding stuff in a lot of ways, right? There are no orcs. There are hobgoblins instead. And I like Dragonlance quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, I like it. But, oh, maybe that's a sport bike. Hello, friend sport bike. But, you know, as a rule, I like having just about everything. Now, there are a couple of... Eberron is another one I never got, and I know people like it. And like I say, we're just talking opinions here, guys. You know, let's take it with a grain of steam. Eberron's too steampunk for me, and the whole living armor thing, I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. Your living suit of armor with magma in it or something, I don't know. And there are steam engines there too. You know, you catch the train to the nearest dungeon. I don't know. I could be wrong about the train, but it seems like it would fit that setting, a train somewhere. And nothing against the settings, guys. We're just talking opinions here. I like, Mystara was another one I found pretty generic. Just about everything in it was interesting. You had the little books, you know, that you could get for it. Little, you know, Kingdom books or whatever. I looked briefly at Kingdom of Kalimar, but nothing came close to Greyhawk. Now, there are a lot of incarnations of Greyhawk, one of which is the you know, living Greyhawk, Gazetteer. And my personal preference is for the 84, 86 box set by Gary Gygax. That's my Greyhawk that I play. Just, you know, it's the richest setting, and with the most, you know, it leaves a lot blank, but the brush paints a wide stroke as well. So you've got just a lot of different human races as well, which I liked. I like the idea of the Clunish and etc. For me, it's just really adds a richness to it to have you know, different human dialects and cultural differences. You know, the Baklunis were basically Arab or Middle Eastern. You know, the Iridians are more the Europeans, I guess. The Suluese, maybe Nordic? I don't know. That doesn't quite capture the Suluese, but... and the Flan, who were like the original inhabitants of the Flaness. And, you know, it had giant kingdoms and gave you just enough information to want to run it, but not enough that you felt caged in, you know, and you knew the political situations. And some areas didn't have any political situations, right? And then you had, like, the Horned Society, you know, these devil-worshipping cleric guys hanging out north, you know, and Ayuz was on the go. He was a demigod, and I think he's the son, I could be wrong, isn't he the son of that demon prince in the Monster Manual 2? That was my understanding there. Chambrum? I can't remember his name. And someone else, and demoness maybe? I don't know. But Ayuz was really cool, and it had a huge stage set for you to write your own material for. Every time I want a generic setting, I go back to Greyhawk. It's 84 or 86 box set, whatever it is. And I just, I love it to pieces. Literally, I love Greyhawk. It doesn't exclude, it includes. You know, to me that is the basic, you know, setting for D&D. That's the generic setting. Now that said, Forgotten Realms exists as well. You know, after the time of Gygax, Forgotten Realms started being plugged at TSR. And what I found about Forgotten Realms, now I can only tell you what I know from the novels and some of the 3rd edition or 2nd edition books maybe. From what I know of Forgotten Realms, I found the pantheon, so the gods. I found the gods of Forgotten Realms to be a bit human-centric. So they're all basically human for me, mostly. And whereas in Greyhawk, you got a lot of other stuff on the go. You got a huge orc pantheon, huge goblin one. You've got, you know, the kobold, you know, god, and you've got the, you know, Sahuagin. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I think the correct pronunciation is Sahagun. But I think it's an Aztec word, isn't it? Or Mayan. So anyway, you had these guys, and you had their god, which was this giant demon great white shark that was swimming the abyss, you know. The ideas just never ran short in Greyhawk, which was always very interesting. Then you had Grumsh, One Eye, and you know, Invinel, or whatever his name is, Orcish god of war, or whatever. It was just extremely interesting. Greyhawk really did it for me. You know, granted, these were, I believe they started as Dragon Magazine articles, but Forgotten Realms was a bit human-centric for me. And like I say, there's opinion, and it could be an incorrect opinion. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's as much as I know about Forgotten Realms. You know, I know Waterdeep, I know various settings. I've read a lot of the novels. You know. Yeah. Sorry guys, this is a pretty slow vlog. I'm really exhausted, to be honest. Just trying to concentrate. I'm just really, really tired. I'm really tired.